back in this arena, knowing that you're from here, but you're on the opposing side of things?
Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing. 10 years ago, I never would have thought I'd be in this position where I'm on a coaching staff in the NBA, and we're coming back to play my hometown team in Oklahoma City. So, it's really a blessing that, the Seattle Supersonics moved down here and made that transition, and now I get to come home twice a year. And I can't even describe the feeling of knowing we're playing Oklahoma City in the NBA playoffs.
How did you get into this?
Yeah, so going into my senior year of college at Southwestern Oklahoma State, I went to a camp in Chicago. It was a small camp. It was only like 6 or 7 guys. I was the only Division II player. The rest of the guys were high Division I. So they put me in a room with a scout from the Celtics. So he and I hit it off, became really good friends, and he promised me an internship once I graduated. So I played my senior year at Southwestern. As soon as I graduated, I moved to Boston, and I was a video intern for Doc Rivers and his coaching staff.
Wow. And so how long were you there?
I was there an entire season.
Okay. What year was that?
2004, 2005.
Okay.
So they wanted to hire me. Some things happened out of our control. And so when Dan Dickow was being traded between New Orleans and Boston, the 2 GMs were on the phone, and after the trade, they said, hey, we need a video guy for the Hornets. And so they said, we have a guy, he's actually from Oklahoma City. They were moving to Oklahoma City because of Hurricane Katrina. So it all just fell in place, and I spent 5 total years with the New Orleans Hornets.
Oh, wow. So was it cool just being able, I mean, obviously not with the hurricanes, but being able to come back here too?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because, I mean, the biggest things here are Oklahoma, OU football and stuff like that. So now we have a legit NBA team. Chris Paul was a rookie at that time, starting to be a superstar and stuff. So it was kind of crazy.
How did you and James meet? Like, how did your whole relationship with him start?
So I met James every summer. I work a lot of Nike events, Adidas events, a handful of NBA coaches do. So I met James. He was just finishing his freshman year at Arizona State, and he was one of the college kids in that group at LeBron James Skills Academy in 2008. So I'm working the camp, I'm working with their group. It was James Harden, Stephen Curry, Patrick Beverly, who's on our team, Wesley Matthews. James and I became cool there, stayed in contact throughout his sophomore season, and he just so happened to get drafted by Oklahoma City. So I have a relationship with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, so we would all kind of hang out, be around each other when I would be here. And then in 2010, we got let go from the Hornets, and I moved to Miami. I started a business down there training guys in the off season. So James was dating a girl in Miami at the time, so he would come down and work out with me when he was there. And then I left there, went to the Phoenix Suns in 2013. He went to ASU, and so when he was there or in Miami, we would always find time to work out, and just been blossoming since 2008, really.
Well, he must really entrust in you.
Yeah.
And you must be good at establishing relationships with guys, because I'm sure when you have a guy like James, the best in the game, they don't just associate themselves with anyone.
Right.
So
right.
when you were in Phoenix, and then you were a bunch of you guys let go?
Yeah, they had a coaching change this summer in 2016. So the day after we got let go, James contacted me and said, hey, I want you to train me the entire summer. And so we started, and it just kind of took off from there.
When you're training a guy like him, what are some of the things that you do different things than some of the other guys might do? Like, what do you focus on when you're working one-on-one with him?
I think if you look at social media, if you look at YouTube, everybody's an NBA trainer now. Everybody wants to be a trainer. You don't have to have a degree for it necessarily. You don't even have to have played basketball. It's just a lot of people are using it as a way just to be around players, or a get rich quick scheme. And so I think for James, he knows that I have NBA experience. I've been on NBA staffs, watching films with NBA staff, so he knows that, I have credibility and whatnot. And also with that, a lot of these workout guys, it's all about, taking credit. Like, they'll work out with a guy one time and post a picture on social media and act like they changed this guy's life.
Yeah.
James Harden's been special from day one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think our relationship is built on, the fact that he trusts me. He knows I'm not going out here trying to act like I made him or anything like that. And, I think because there's not a huge gap in age, we have a lot in common, listen to a lot of the same music or what have you. So we can kind of relate. That's why our relationship is what it is.
So when you guys were working out this past summer, then there was an opportunity for you to come on to the coaching staff with the Rockets. What was your reaction?
Yeah, the thing is, when you work a guy out in the summer, obviously you have from maybe May to probably September to work with them. And then that leaves the whole season, it's like, what am I doing, And a lot of people train kids or what have you, and that's not really, I train some kids, but for the most part, like, I want to stay in the NBA. So, I told him that, and the Rockets were looking for another player development coach, and it just made sense. Daryl Morey and I worked together in Boston my first year in the NBA. He was the general manager there, so we worked together there, and so he knew me. A couple people called on my behalf, and then it just all came out.
Sounds like the way to come up in this is all about the connections.
Oh,
that
absolutely, absolutely.
You've mentioned you've known, and
yeah.
Is it kind of by like a word of mouth thing too? If one guy like James is recommending, I'm sure that they're like, oh, I'm going to give this guy a chance.
Right. Yeah, it's, I've never got a job in the NBA based off my actual resume, on paper. Like, I'm not sending, it's not a job where you're looking online, oh, they have this available, and you send in a resume. It's not like that. It's all about word of mouth, relationships, and stuff like that. I have a lot of players that I'm close with, people in the media, agents and stuff that I've trained their players, and so they'll make a call on my behalf or what have you. And, it's just like anything else, just networking.
How is working with James Harden different from, say, just your average NBA guy? Because obviously he's considered one of the best in the game.
Absolutely.
When you talk about the elite guys, there's things about them that make them exceptional. And I would think work ethic is probably one of those.
Yeah, his work ethic, it's crazy. I've worked with a lot of guys that are all-star caliber guys. And the thing that separates them from, just average NBA players is they actually love the game. And James, at this point in his career, he has a brand, and he knows that, for this brand to take off and to stay what it is and to keep going further, I have to put the time in. And so this summer, it was all about getting back to the basics and, kind of getting back to where he started from day one. So we went back to Arizona State. He worked out with his strength coach that he's had since he was 18, got back with me on the court, and, really kind of tried to eliminate a lot of distractions. So, he's from Los Angeles. He didn't want to be in LA all summer. There's too much going on, family, friends pull him in different directions. So we stayed in Arizona, worked out at ASU. Could still have a good time, but we got to work in every day. And, I think it's really made a difference in his body, his preparation, and, this year that he's had.
I mean, when you talk about the year he's had, the fact that he's taken over the point guard position here and he's kind of blossomed, having this exceptional season, what kinds of things did you work with him on that now we're seeing this other side of James Harden that that fans haven't seen?
Yeah, I think, being in Coach D'Antoni's system, putting the pieces around him that we have now, I knew that with him handling the ball a lot, it's going to be a lot of playmaking along the lines of like how Steve Nash was when he was with Mike D'Antoni. So we do a lot of things that maybe are more unconventional than a lot of workouts. We do a lot of passing drills, a lot of ball handling. Because he has the ball in his hands so much, I try to do things that make it a little tough on him to make certain passes or whatnot, because he commands so much attention and plays in crowds so much. So, it was a lot of that where, we come off pick and rolls with a defender on him, not just one-on-0 stuff, but with dummy defense, so he could feel a body and feel pressure and things like that. And, even when he was in Oklahoma City, I felt like he was their best passer, best pick and roll player. But now, full time as the point guard, you kind of seeing all these things just come to play. And, he's really a special talent, has a great feel for the game.
How receptive is he because you've known him for so long, and so you said the trust level has to be there. So how receptive is he to you when you're making tweaks or you see something on film that maybe he doesn't see?
Yeah, he trusts my judgment. He trusts my judgment and knows that, what I say, we might not always agree. And we talk about that from time to time. Like, I can't be a yes man. I can't be someone who always agrees with what you say, because that's not real love. That's not real, caring. So he knows, like, he'll call me or we'll talk and he'll ask me, what did you see, or what do you feel on this? And sometimes I am wrong. You know what I mean? But it is a trust, it is communication, and he'll say, hey, I don't agree with that. And, we'll go back and forth and there's interaction because, I am with him every day. I am with the coaching staff as well. So I know what their side of it is, as well as his. So, I think it's a good balance.
People around here, Oklahoma City fans, always look at those three, meaning Harden, Westbrook, and Durant, and even they say, man, I can't believe this team had all three of these guys on the same team. But do you think that we'd be seeing this Harden now if he was still playing with Durant and Westbrook on Oklahoma City?
There's no way that the three of them, they could have stayed together and won. I do agree with that. But from an individual standpoint, I mean, you look at Russell and the statistical season he's having. He couldn't have that if Kevin was here. You know what I mean, as an individual. But as far as the team game goes, I think the three of them would have definitely won championships together, which is the bottom line, obviously. But from a statistical standpoint, individually, they couldn't have done the same things together. Yeah, but I think they still would have been pretty special.
What do you think just about the season that Harden has had? Did you expect it? Was it a surprise to you? I mean, were there things that, like you said, were different over the summer, just about how he chose to lock in that enabled him to do what he's doing?
I'm all about, energy and speaking things into existence. And so I think from day one, every time we talked, or if I gave him a birthday or Christmas present or a gift or whatever, if it was books or whatever, I always put, MVP season or, this is our year, whatever, because, I really felt like with the pieces he had around him, Coach D'Antoni, with the preparation we had, I really felt like this was going to be an MVP type season like it was 2 seasons ago.
You're so engaged. I mean, do you get stressed out at times?
Oh, no, I really do. I really do, because you want him to play like, the best player in the world every night. And sometimes I do get frustrated because I know what he's capable of. I feel like there's no player in the game that's as skilled as him offensively. He can shoot, he can pass, he can post up, he can get to the rim. And I don't know another player in the league that has that balance at that high of a level with that type of efficiency. He led the league in assists, second in the NBA in scoring on a low amount of shots. 2 rebounds away from a triple-double on the third best team in the NBA, and he's the only all-star. We would have been number 1 in the Eastern Conference. And so, yeah, I do sit back. It's hard to sleep sometimes. Like last night, I wanted him to hit the game winner. You know what I mean? Because that would have just added to the resume for him. But, I do get stressed out, and there are nights that it's a little struggle.
I'm not going to ask you who you think should be MVP, because
we can talk about it.
I know.
We can talk about it if you want to talk about it.
Okay, yeah. Trying to remove all bias aside.
And see, the MVP thing has been tough because Russell is someone that I consider a friend.
So you know him very well.
Yeah, and I love Russell to death, and I think he's one of the most special players to ever come into this league. Obviously, one of the most athletic guards to ever play in this league, but just his mindset, like,
Have you seen a guy with a mindset that he has in terms of he really doesn't care what anyone says about him?
There's very few guys like that, and there's some guys like that in this league, but they're just not as talented as him. You know what I mean? Most of these guys, you know, they want to be friends with everybody and they want to be liked by everybody, and he's not like that, especially if you look at the all-star caliber players. But he's not like that, and I think, you know, that's one of the reasons that I'm a fan personally. But when you break it down, I really feel like James is the MVP, because if you look at the last 50 years in the NBA, I don't think there's ever been a player in the last 50 years that has been MVP that didn't come from a top 4 team in the NBA, right? In I believe 1962, when Oscar Robertson averaged his triple-double, that same year, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds. I believe Elgin Baylor averaged 38 points and 17 rebounds. And I think Bill Russell ended up winning MVP, averaging like 22 and 25. But the Celtics were number 1. And so at the time, Oscar Robertson had the triple-double, but there wasn't a term called triple-double. That's just what he did.
Yeah.
So now, we have the term triple-double. Ice Cube put it in the rap song. We have social media driving everything. And so every time, win or lose, Russell could get a triple-double. They could lose the game, but it doesn't matter. That's the headline. And so that momentum kind of stirred things, right? So 2 years ago, James had better numbers than Stephen Curry. The Rockets were 2, the Warriors were 1. But the NBA gave MVP to Stephen Curry, you know, and the players ended up voting James as MVP, but that year they based it on winning. So if it's about winning, then James should be MVP. If you put their numbers side by side, the only difference is 2 rebounds a game. So the 2 rebounds a game were really that much that separated the MVP voting when we have the 3rd best record in the NBA. Like, I just feel like James should have won MVP based off that, you know, because you look for years. Kobe Bryant, I think it was one year he averaged 35 points while Steve Nash was averaging like 17 and 11, but they were number 1, so he got MVP. So, you know, it's always been about the winning team. So, you know, it is what it is. I feel like the race is pretty much over because social media gave it such a hard push, but, you know, it is what it is.
What do you think about the season that Russ has had?
It's unbelievable. Honestly, you know, I saw Coach Fizdale said Kawhi Leonard is a machine. I physically don't know how Russell can do what he does on a night-to-night basis with that kind of energy. You know, the other night when he, you know, people were talking about shooting 43 times. It's hard for me to just come in the gym by myself with no defense and shoot 43 shots, you know, at that speed without defense. So I really don't know. He's exceptional. He's exceptional, man. And for James and Russell to both be doing this statistically in the same year, I mean, it's like, wow. It's like for one guy to do it one time, the other guy to do it another time, but both in the same season. It's like it's pretty crazy.
How cool is it for you to see, because you know both these guys so well?
Yeah.
They're former teammates, still good friends.
Both from LA. Yeah, it's just crazy.
About the business right now.
Yeah.
But how cool is it for you to say, man, like what we're watching now, even though you're
it's
in the
history.
Rockets, you can appreciate what both of these guys are doing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think every night, I mean, it's games where we're in the gym, in the locker room at halftime, and the Thunder are playing, and I'm looking like, dang, what is Russell doing? You know what I mean? You got to check. It's really remarkable, and I never thought we'd see anything like this, you know, to this magnitude. It's pretty crazy.
What is it like for you? You went to Carl Albert, just being like an Oklahoma City kid, just to see the path that you've been on, and you've really done things the right way. Like your come up has started from the ground up, really, and you really networked your way to kind of be doing what you're doing now on the stage, here for the playoffs with the Rockets. I mean, what does that mean to you, and what kind of message do you think that can just send for guys that are kind of wanting to do what you do now?
Yeah, I think, you know, anybody that knows me, friends, family, whatever, I might get on people's nerves sometime with how much I talk about Oklahoma. Like, I'm so proud to be from here. Obviously a huge Oklahoma football fan, so, you know, I wear OU stuff all the time, but, you know, I got to meet Garth Brooks last year at a concert, and we talked about it, and just talking about, you know, how proud we are to be from here and the upbringing we had, and, you know, the things that the values you have from being from a place like Oklahoma, you know what I mean? I feel like traveling, you know, I live in Miami, so kids there, they're not gonna have the same type of environment and upbringing and support that I had being from a place like this, you know? So, you know, it's really special, and I come home as often as I can. My sister just had a little boy, and so I'll be home a little more now, but I'm very active in my high school. I'm in my high school all the time. I'm close with the kids in my high school on the basketball team and stuff like that.
Right?
Yeah. So, you know, I talk to those kids all the time, and, you know, I come home a lot, and this will always be, you know, my heart, you know, in Oklahoma City.
But you being a basketball guy too, like we were talking about, is it kind of cool to see how the Thunder brand has really become an international brand because of what Durant, Harden, and Westbrook all did when they were together?
Before they came, anywhere you would go, like I tell people, yeah, I'm from Oklahoma City, and they're like, oh yeah, y'all had that bombing, right? And I'm like, come on, man, you know, that's the only thing we're known for. Or, you know, Adrian Peterson went to OU, like that's Oklahoma football and the bombing are the only two things they would bring up. But now, I mean, I'm in Europe, I'm in China, and people have Oklahoma City jerseys on their chests, and it's crazy to me. You know, people rap about it, and, you know, to hear Oklahoma City brought up, you know, that way, I never would have in a million years thought I'd hear that.
I know you don't take a lot of personal credit for what James has done, because you said he's been special like this for so long, but is it kind of cool to know that you're kind of one of the guys behind it all that works with him, and to see him having this level of success?
Oh yeah. You know, like I said, I try to not be like these other guys and be, oh yeah, that's me. You know, I don't want to be that guy, but to be a part of his team and be a part of the process, it's amazing, you know, with what he's doing. And every night you just have a sense of, you know, I'm a part of that, you know.
And what's your ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal? I just want to keep growing and getting better for the most part. As far as the final destination in my career, I'm still kind of uncertain about it. You know, there's some opportunities for me overseas and stuff like that, and I'm just trying to spread my training brand to other places. I think here in the States it's become a little watered down as far as the basketball training goes. So, you know, I'm in China a lot, in Europe a lot, and, you know, I want to do a lot of stuff over there as much as I can, and just get, you know, keep getting better. As far as the NBA goes, I love it. It gives me credibility and stuff like that. But, you know, do I want to become a head coach? You know, I'm not sure about that. You know, I just want to keep, you know, growing and developing and learning as much as I can and spreading it out.